From the Shire of Guelph, Ontario, this is the Fellowship of Guelphissauga.
The Fellowship of Guelphissauga continues, with record-breaking homelessness, deficits, and rainbow walkways. The mayor returned home from his trip to Paris, France, where he was European-inspired at the Globalist Covenant of Mayors meeting. The housing cost crisis has reached record-breaking numbers across the lands of Ontario, so he tried to play the blame game across all levels of government. Meanwhile, in the south end of the Shire, there was also record-breaking deficits and rainbow walkways hitting the university and Blaze Pizza. Can Carly of Classen and the Elder Elves do anything about the housing cost crisis? And will the mayor find any accountability within all levels of government? In the mayor's office downtown, he returned from his trip to France from the Globalist Covenant of Mayors meeting. Thanks to Bloomberg Philanthropies, the mayor was European-inspired by presentations on climate change and diversity, equity, and inclusion. He hoped this would result in more global money coming to the Shire to fight climate change and encourage inclusion. However, more and more people were being excluded from society, with the number of homeless people reaching record-breaking numbers in the lands of Ontario. According to the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing, they estimated that 234,000 people are homeless across the province. Representing 1.5% of the population, or every 3 in 200 people, the housing cost crisis has expanded into a fractured tent city larger than the Shire itself. The mayor acted surprised by the new information as another tent encampment grew outside his office window. He thought he had dealt with the Shire's housing cost crisis by giving $600,000 to the homeless hotels and blocking people on Twitter telling him about it. Unfortunately for the mayor, people started writing him letters that he couldn't block IRL. The fourth letter he received was from Janice Folk Dawson and her Orange Party. She wrote an open letter to the mayor criticizing his lack of results from his squandered resources. As an escalating housing cost crisis grips communities across Canada, including Guelph, it has become increasingly clear that the responsibility for addressing encampments and homelessness falls on all 3 levels of government, she wrote to the mayor. By focusing on the symptoms, like encampments, while ignoring the root causes of homelessness, we waste valuable financial and physical resources, she explained. Janice encouraged the mayor to instead focus on productive projects, such as the tiny homes groups in Kitchener and Peterborough. The other levels of government also shared their responsibilities for the crisis, with the Lord of the Liberals' flood of immigrant voters making it worse. The Big Blue Orc was trying to dodge his provincial role by changing the province's definition of affordable from a standard income-based approach to a market-based approach. That way, he could claim the condos in the swamps of Toronto were affordable, when in reality, they were not. Meanwhile, in the university's ivory tower, the fat cats there were watching record-breaking deficits and rainbows hit the south end of town. In an attempt to tackle their multi-year million-dollar deficits, the university's fat cats were searching for new sources of funding. The first thing they did was over-enroll their first-year students, leaving over 1,000 on the residence waiting list. These students will have to search for a place to pitch a tent this fall, with the lack of anywhere affordable left to live in the Shire. The second thing the university's fat cats did to attract more funds was to welcome their over-enrolled student with a rainbow walkway. They were looking to score, just like their students, but with their ESG score instead of each other. They painted a rainbow walkway right in the middle of campus, creating a more inclusive environment to move up the ESG scale. This pride flag sends a strong message that UofG is committed to the path of equality for everyone on our campus. The Rainbow Walkway is part of a broader strategy to continue making our campus more inclusive, said Indira Naidu-Harris, Associate Vice President of Diversity and Human Rights. While the university's new students plan to wake up to rainbows this fall, more businesses were going broke in town. After 5 years in business, Blaze Pizza on Clare Road has closed its doors for good. Along with 2 other locations in Burlington and Toronto, they shut down due to the lack of demand for fancy pizza. They might be joined soon by 2 other businesses in the south end of the Shire who are also facing problems this week. On the same day, 2 businesses were hit by slippery thieves who made off with hundreds of dollars in butter. Apparently, the Shire's housing cost crisis has gotten so bad that people are now resorting to stealing butter. Can Carly of Classen and the Elder Elves do anything about the housing cost crisis? And will the mayor find any accountability within all levels of government? Stay tuned here to see. This video is brought to you by brighttutoring.ca. Don't let school get in the way of your education. Book a tutoring session today at brighttutoring.ca.